Okay, hang on. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to our personal development call that we've been doing here for quite some time now. My name is Carla, and I'm calling you here from Los Angeles, California. And you guys, I thought, for those of you who have been doing these calls with us for, well over a year, you know that we've been doing all kinds of call series. We started off with leadership and moved into the manifestation, then growth culture, and we've done all kinds of sales call series, the entrepreneur myth. We've done all kinds of calls for over a year now. So what I thought I was at, we just concluded the Think and Grow Rich series, and, I really hope that for those of you who did not have an opportunity or maybe didn't make it a priority or didn't do it as much as you perhaps know that you could have done it, I really invite you to go back. If you didn't, listen to all the call series, go back to entrepreneurintelligence.com, and it's give me a chance. Well, I'll load them up today. I have a lot to do today, but maybe tonight I'll do them. If not, if you subscribe onto my YouTube channel, if you Google Carla Sandoval, or if you go into Entrepreneur Intelligence, you'll see the YouTube channel. Go ahead and click on that, and if you subscribe to it, you'll get notifications as these calls go live on YouTube. So if you haven't, or if you want to revisit the Think and Grow Rich series calls, I really encourage you to do that, because one of the main things that we've been working on in these call series is really that the whole concept of these calls have been that the power lies within you. That it's the power of you in your business, the power of you in your life, the power of you in your relationships. It's really, and it's refreshing because so many of us, well, maybe not people on this call, but so many people feel that life happens to them, that they're always like at the reaction of life. But one of the concepts that we have been really nurturing on these calls is, what if you could really wrap your head around that you have a say on how your life goes, that you really have a say on how you show up in life and how life shows up for you. So, I encourage you to go back and listen to the Think and Grow Rich call series, because one of the things that we did was really take the concept of declaration and doing a statement that we were going to read every morning and every night. Now, as you know, I am not shy to confess my ups and my downs, and I share my victories with you guys on these calls, but I also share with you, where I fall short. And I got to tell you, this morning was definitely not an exception. But, I got to tell you, I know that for maybe not all of us on the call, but for a lot of us, you can relate to this, and that is, when we started this concept, I didn't miss a day. Like every morning, every night, I actually even started a journal of not so much, it is gratitude, but it's also acknowledgement, like gratitude and acknowledgement, where I literally would sit in my bed and write down everything I did great. And I did this for almost 2 weeks straight. And I have to confess, and then I would do it on and off, on and off, on and off. So I know for myself, I could definitely get better with that. Somebody on last week's call, after the call, called me, and we had talked about, concluding the call, the 13 principles of Think and Grow Rich, and one of them was procrastination. And so somebody called me after the call and asked me, about those 13 principles, and they actually asked me a question. They said, Carla, do you do all of them? And I started laughing, and I said, oh, my gosh, I wish, But the thing is, what's so beautiful, I told this person, I said, is that I wish that I could honestly say I never procrastinate. I wish I could tell you, oh, my gosh, I totally live 100% of the time on these 13 principles. But the reality is I don't. And the reality is I'm okay with that, because after all, and I'm not justifying this, but I am human. And there are days that are better than others. This today was a real big lesson for me, because a few weeks ago, my license has been expired for a while, and I went to the DMV and got it renewed, and supposedly they had shipped it to my parents' house. So I just literally trusted that was the case. So when I saw my parents, my mom was like, no, I haven't gotten it in the mail, and I'm like, okay. And so anyhow, I moved, as you guys know, a few weeks ago, and I misplaced my passport. So here I am with no passport and an expired license, okay? And for a while, I was beating myself up, oh my gosh, what did I do with it? Because normally there's a specific place that I won't tell you where I keep my passport. but when I was moving, I was in such a rush to put everything away that I'm certain, okay, that I probably said, oh, I'll put it here, I won't forget. Now, I know about something about me is that anytime I say I won't forget, 99% of the time I forget. So, and this morning, same thing. Yesterday I went to the gym with my boyfriend, and I left my keys in his car. So this morning I get up, and I was getting ready to go to the gym, and here I am getting dressed, and I'm like, oh, my God, my keys are in his car. And I remember when I put them in the dashboard, I remember thinking, I won't forget. So the lesson of this morning for me was, slow down, Carla, get grounded, and get present. So, you know, there's always a lesson behind everything. And one of the things I'm going to encourage you to do is to always ask yourself, what's the lesson here? And as I sat there and waited for somebody who was kind enough to bring me my keys, I started looking at what kind of lessons do we want to start embodying in these calls for the month of November. And one of the things I thought about is we haven't done a leadership call in a really long time. Although all of this is in the realm of leadership, we haven't really focused on it. Because as I was sitting here and I was meditating in the morning, I was like, you know, what's the lesson? And I got it. I kind of got to ground and get present and really honor myself that when I think like I won't forget, that is, I should know already that is a flag for I might. So grab the keys and put them in a place where I can see them when I got out of the car. So having said all of that, I thought what we would do is I started asking myself, what are those things that we perhaps haven't covered on these calls? And one of the things I think we've been perhaps we could add to our call series is, what are the characteristics of a leader? And this morning I started studying and I started researching, and I came across something that I thought was just fascinating that I really wanted to share with you guys. So let's go ahead and start thinking. So this call series for the month of November will be the characteristics of leaders. Now, this is not the truth. This is not right. This is just something we can start to observe and start to look at. Can we relate to this? And do we find that these characteristics could be adapted to us? Because after all, the truth is, you only know what's right for you. So allow me to share these and ponder in your mind, what characteristics do you feel could be added to your persona to influence the people around you. So what I want to do is, first of all, I want you to stop and ponder and think. When you think of a great leader, when you have somebody in mind, somebody you admire, okay, what characteristics do they have? So think about somebody that you admire, you look up to, and that you want to follow. Now, why do I say that? Because I know that there are people that I know that I'm like, man, like I'll just, I'll think of one particular, I won't say her name, but there's one particular person that I really admire how intelligent she is. She is strong. She is I would love, if I needed to go to court, she would be who I would want on my side. However, I wouldn't want to be like her. I admire her for how she is, and I think she's just a strong, intelligent, if I can say this, bad, awesome kind of way, woman, but I would not want to be like her. So I know we've got those people that were like, man, that person is powerful, but I don't know if I would want to do that. But then there's people that you're like, man, this person is powerful, and I would follow them to the end, and I would want to be like them. So think about those people, and think about with those leaders, what characteristics do they have? Okay, so start thinking about that. And one of the things why this pondered to my head was because one of the things I was studying this morning was about, I've been watching all these women things, women in business, women in military, women in sports, and one of the things that I came across was how the military, how people in the military, how they think. And, my true respects to those people that put their lives on the line for the rest of us. But they were, honoring this one particular person for their courage to go back and save all these people's lives, and and they brought them out, and people that were wounded, the dead bodies, they pulled them out, and so they gave this particular person an award. And I started to think wow, I started wondering how, if I had the courage to do that, first of all, but I started to think what makes somebody do that? What makes someone put their life on the line for somebody else? And what makes somebody be willing to be a cause in somebody else's life? Now, we've been talking about you being a cause in the matter of your life. But now I start to shift here. We're talking about leadership. Is what has somebody be the cause in somebody else's life? This particular military person put their life on the line and was the cause of saving another human and pulling them out of wherever they were to safety, right, to bring their bodies back to their families. So I started to think about, was it because these people are just like, they're just, obviously they're people of service, right? Is it because they're just better kind of people? And what I've learned through my research this morning is really it's the environment that they're in. Now, if you think about this, it's the environment that allows a particular characteristic to show up. And if you get the environment right, every single one of us has the capacity, that's the key word, right, has the capacity to do these remarkable things. And the best thing of it all, and the most important thing of it all, for those of us who are in business, is that others do too. So if you have the correct environment, or the environment that you want, or the environment that will nurture this kind of characteristic to show up, not only do you have the capacity to do that, but other people do too. And so when you meet those, great people that are just people that are acts of service, and you ask them, like if you were to ask this particular military person that got this award, why did you do that? Like, what had you go out there and put your life on the line for somebody else? What research has shown is that they almost, if not all, have said it's because they would have done the same thing. They would have done the same things for me. They would have done the same thing as far as going out there and grabbing me and things like that, right, getting me out of wherever I was and bring my body home. I know that if that was me, somebody would have done that for me. Therefore, I want to do that for them. Now, that, of course, takes courage. But really, if you think about it, it's an environment of trust and collaboration. Now, here's the thing. When you have trust and collaboration in an environment, the most amazing characteristics, the strengths, just the most amazing things of a human being will show up. Okay? The problem with this is that maybe you would say, okay, well, in the military, there's trust and collaboration, but I bet, I haven't been in the military, but I bet if I interview some people, there are some tribes or some organizations that have the most amazing amount of trust and collaboration to their generals. Therefore, they would run through a brick wall for them. And I'm sure if I ask other people, they'll do what they need to do for their general, but there isn't the same amount of level of trust and collaboration. So, the military, because I started thinking, well, of course, they're in the military, but I started thinking, well, I bet not every general has the same amount of influence on their soldiers. They will because of their word is their honor, but like I'm talking about like at heart. So if you think about this, trust and collaboration, when it's present, the most amazing things can happen. Now, here's the problem with this. Trust and collaboration, it's a feeling. Okay? You can't instruct somebody, listen, you need to trust me. And automatically that other person is going to trust me. No. Or I can't tell two people, all right, listen, you and you, stop the fighting, collaborate, and have them collaborate. Now, they might pretend and fake to trust me or to collaborate amongst each other, but the truth of the matter is trust and collaboration, it's a feeling. So one of the first characteristics I want you to ponder upon this week between now and next Tuesday is in your environment, do you have trust and collaboration among the people that you lead? Are the people around you, can they trust you? Do the people around you, do you sense a sense of collaboration amongst each other? Because if the answer is kind of, well, now we got some work to do, right? But the thing is, again, it's not something you can instruct people. Okay, listen, you guys need to collaborate. Oh, you need to now trust me. It's really a feeling. Now, the important thing is to start thinking about where does this come from? Okay, why is it, right? Because there's always a root to everything, I think. And what is it about human beings that they need to have a sense of trust and collaboration in order for that environment to show up that way? So now if you think about the days like, back in the, what do you call those days? Like the caveman days, right? The Paleolithic days or something like that, whatever you call it. If you think about it, right, they were the caveman days, however many years ago. They were, these people were out there in the wilderness, and there was danger all around them, from the lions wanting to come in, from the bear wanting to eat their food, to the weather, to the lack of resources, lack of food, etc., right? So here's what ended up happening. Let's just take an example as a tribe. If there were, so they have all these dangers around, so we became a social environment because, it had to become a social environment. So what ended up happening was I needed to make sure that I had, trust with everybody around me. That if there was danger around me, and if we form like this, like in the movie, The Circle of Trust, right? If we form this circle of trust, now I feel safe inside my tribe. I now believe that I am safe. Therefore, that if I can go to sleep at night knowing that, if something were to come, we all have each other's back. I could, make sure that, the crops, if I believe that we're all in collaboration of each other, I'm not going to hide the food thinking that, somebody else is not going to share. But if I really have there's a safe circle of trust, right? There's a safe feeling amongst all of the tribes that we have each other's back, that we protect one another from this danger of the tiger or the danger of lack of resources. Now, by human nature, there is this sense of collaboration. Otherwise, if that's not the case, and by the way, they needed this to survive. They needed this to feel safe, and they needed to trust each other. They needed to collaborate. Otherwise, they would have not survived. However, I'm sure that if one tribe had one particular person that they couldn't trust, they probably took care of that person, right? Or they moved them or moved the tribe or something, because otherwise it was like literally life or death. Now, if you think about this, you might be thinking, well, yeah, Carla, that was back in the days. Well, guess what? Today is no different. Okay? There are dangers, maybe not so much lack of resources as much as they had back then, but the lions are not outside my house right now wanting to eat me. But think about what other factors are we facing that we feel that we encounter danger, such as let's think about here, like the economy, right? The ups and downs of the economy. There's certainly a lot of uncertainty there. The new technology coming in, is this new technology for those of you who have had jobs where all of a sudden there's machinery coming in that replaces human labor, that's danger. Or, just maybe what about your competition? Or what about the danger of the people, the negative people around you that want to bring you down, that one way or another want to, I don't want to use the word destroy, but I can't think of anything else right now. But, or maybe even just something as simple as your competition, okay? That they might not necessarily, destroy you, but they might bring so much frustration into your life and into your business that maybe, just maybe, amongst your own organization, there's now a level of trust, like the questioning of trust. There's a questioning of safety. Like, can I trust this person? Is this person really out there to, support me? Or, I know in a lot of our businesses, we have to have this level of trust that, that we're going to respect each other's customers, that we're going to respect each other's members and distributors and organizations, that we're not going to badmouth one another. And when you question, can I trust, now people are in a state of survival. Now, here's the thing. All these outside variables, they will always be. You'll always have competition. There'll always be danger. There'll always be somebody that, maybe comes into the organization with not the best interest. Those things are always going to be. So let's call those constant factors. What is variable is what's inside. What's variable is what's inside the organization. Now, here's the beautiful thing. That is where you as a leader can make an impact. Okay, is to start thinking about, are the conditions inside the organization those that cause everybody in my team, everybody in my business, to feel safe, therefore to trust, therefore to have collaboration. And that is where leadership really, really matters, because it's the leader that sets the tone. When the leader sets the tone to put that safety in place, and you really put the safety in the lives of the people in your organization first, okay, and they know that you're willing to sacrifice some of those tangible results, meaning more customers or whatever, or you're willing to sacrifice even your own level of comfort so that your people, your organization feel safe and that they feel that they come first, the results are remarkable. And remarkable things happen. Now, I kind of have a sense that some of you guys are probably have an intuition that some of you are like, what is she talking about? So let me give you an example, okay? So I don't know if you guys have ever, so one of the things I do in my spare time is I love to watch biographies. And one of the things that I watched was, Mark Cuban from the Mavericks, the owner of the Mavericks. And one of the things that, they talked about, how he came to the Mavericks. And yes, you might say, well, Carly, he had billions of dollars. I get it, but he had all this money. But what was important here is this. He went into the Mavericks and told them, redo the locker room. I want them to have state-of-the-art facilities. Got them a plane and said, I want them to travel in comfort. And he really, as we said here, set the tone and was willing to sacrifice some tangibles, such as his money, right, and sacrifice his own comfort, right, meaning that rather than him being up at the box, he was on the court with the rest of the people, with his team, with the fans. And although some people might say, well, he was really obnoxious, he got fined all over the place, all over the time, just wouldn't be quiet. But here's the thing. They interviewed these players, and one of the common factors were that they all said that they knew that they can count on him, that they knew that he would go to bat for them, that they knew that Mark had their best interest in mind. And not only did the players know, but the fans knew. And if you guys watch, YouTube it or wherever you can see it, if you watch the game where they won, the championship, the fans started chanting Mark's name. Now, they said, okay, so don't quote me on this, but they said that never in the history of the NBA have the fans ever chanted an owner's name. They might be like, Kobe, right? But never have they chanted the owner's name. Now, why did they? Because they knew that Mark had his back. Now, here's the thing. There's other situations where you've seen it, I'm sure of it, that you go somewhere and people get mistreated, like, for example, you might go to, you might go to somewhere, right? And, okay, let me give you a perfect example. You might go to a store and, how many of us women are always like, oh my gosh, could I please use your restroom, right? And you're a customer there. Maybe you're an awesome customer. You go there all the time. But then the person behind the counter is like, no, I can't. And you're like, please, let me go to the bathroom. And they're like, no, I can't. You don't understand. I'll get in trouble. I'll get fired. What that person is really saying is, lady, I know you have to pee, right? But I can't. I don't feel safe. I don't trust my leader. And if I let you in, I'm so much in danger that, like, not that I'm going to die, right? But it's like, it's that kind of fear. So I want you to start pondering for this next week, how do your organization, how do the people that are following you, how do they feel about, do they feel safe around you? Do they feel like, oh my God, I better not mess up because I'm going to get my head cut off? Or is there room for growth? And if you think about this, if you think about, what is a great leader? They give people room to grow, room to kind of like mess up a little bit, right? And if you think about this, the parents are a perfect example. A good parent, what do they want to do? They want to give their child opportunities. They want to give them education. They have to and will discipline them when it's necessary, right? So that the child can grow up and have abundance and have opportunities and be even better than the parent. Now, becoming a manager, a leader, or, somebody who leads people is no different. What do you want for your people? Same thing. You want to give them opportunities. You want to educate them. You want to give them the skills that they need. You got to discipline them whenever they need to. But you really do the things that are necessary for them to grow, to build their confidence, to learn on the things that they are missing in order to thrive in their life and in their business, to really achieve more than even you have achieved. Now that is when you can get someone to outperform you, like in your skill set level, that's the most amazing feeling. And I've been blessed enough to have experienced that for myself, to have trained and developed people that are even better than me in certain things. And trust me, it is the most fulfilling experience to be able to say, wow, like I helped this person, and look at where they're at. Look at how they're living. You know, it really is such a fulfilling space to be, for leaders to build other leaders. So I encourage you to start thinking about that. And, you know, it's just you can empower your organization to adopt this concept when you can really get everybody in alignment on your team that, you know, we're here together to grow. We're going to create a safe environment where we're going to generate trust and collaboration, where we've got each other's back. There's no better feeling. And this is why so many people, and I'm going to just say corporate America for the sake of example, but it can happen, I'm sure, in military and nonprofits and everywhere, right? But I'm just to give an example. But that's why so many people sometimes are upset with some companies in corporate America, because the people at the top allowed their people to be sacrificed for their own benefit or for the bottom line. Or worse yet, that these leaders, they sacrifice their people for their own benefit and for the bottom line. And at the end of the day, you guys, human beings, no matter what, they will know if you're being treated as a number or if you really genuinely care about them. You know, so I really want you to think that leadership is a choice. It's not a rank. We've talked about this in if you go on to Entrepreneur Intelligence, you'll look under the leadership series, so I'm not going to cover it, but the 5 Levels of Leadership by John Maxwell. And it's not a rank. Yes, people will follow you. People will do what you say. They will obey you because you've got some kind of authority over them, right? But for them to really follow you and to, as I say, run through brick walls for you, it is only if they know that you care. Okay? So we know people at the top that, that have the authority, but like I said, they're not leaders. Like, you just do what they say because that's, they're your boss. But then there's people that are not at the top, that are maybe at your level or even below your level as far as, like, the scale, not in the eyes of God, right? But, like, you know what I mean. But, there might be somebody that's maybe not as high as your boss, but you would do anything for them because they watch out for the people to the right. They look out for the people to the left. They look out for everybody around them. And they really are somebody that you can count on, somebody that you trust, somebody that's in collaboration. And when we say, hey, let's do this, they say, all right, let's do it. They're not like, well, that's not my job. Why do I have to do that? It's such a pleasure, and I know all of you guys have experienced it, where you've been literally experienced working with people that are like a pleasure to work with because they collaborate, and you know that if they say, like, okay, I'm going to do this, that they're going to do it, right? It's the most amazing story. I mean, the most amazing feeling. So I want you just in conclusion here to start pondering about, for yourself and about your organization, what kind of environment do you have? Is it one where people feel safe, they trust each other, and they collaborate? Or is it one where people are, like, so afraid of their survival that they have to, like, wonder, should I, what can I do? Or is there room for mess up? This last week I went to this women's conference, and this lady said that in her organization, she has like over 100 employees all over the nation, and they have a boo-boo prize. So where people literally submit what they messed up on and what the lesson was. So, like, for example, I would have submitted my whole key story, right, or my license story, and what was the lesson? And everybody submits their boo-boos, right? And once a month they pick the boo-boo of the month, and they say, okay, Carla messed up here, but here's what she learned. So as long as you learn from your lesson, you get this award, right? It's like a $25 gift card to somewhere. why I'm sharing you this, I have like 20 more seconds here, is because I want you to start looking at for yourself this week that what kind of environment are you generating? What kind of environment do you have with your people? Do they feel safe? That they can come to you and say, you know what, I can't do this, and you're not going to like beat them up with a whip, right? But that they feel safe to come to you and to be honest and say, this is what I'm dealing with. Now, not for you to be a therapist, but because they know that they can trust you. They're not going to go tell people their business, and that they know that if there is need for collaboration, that there is that circle of quote unquote trust among the team that they've got each other's back. And that they can, when that happens, you guys, the most remarkable results will happen. So in conclusion, I challenge you and I request for each and every one of us to look at what kind of leaders are we, what kind of environment do we have around our leadership, and let's share next week what we discovered. So hang on, don't hang up. I'm going to open up the line and see if anybody has any questions or any comments. So hold